So let me talk a little bit about Mass Effect 2 when it comes to the Lazarus Project. It's called, most likely it's called Lazarus Project because in the Bible, Lazarus was a person that was raised from the dead by Jesus Christ. A lot of times when the storyline has to do with bringing someone back to life, they use that word Lazarus, whatever. And I believe there's a movie called Lazarus Project or something like that, and it has that whole bringing someone back to life. So when it comes to everything else, we pretty much know everything about Shepard. We know what happened. I mean, if we've played the games, we know what happened to Shepard in Mass Effect 1. He saw the Prothean beacon. He was the one that took down the Reapers. He was the one that took down Sovereign. He's been the only one that has been ruining the Reapers' plans. In Mass Effect 2, Collectors destroy the Normandy. Shepard gets spaced and he gets killed. The Collectors, Cerberus, Liara, the Shadow Broker are all after Shepard's body. The Collectors get Shepard, and then Liara takes Shepard, and then Miranda gets Shepard, and then Cerberus ends up with Shepard. They bring him back to life. And the group, the Lazarus Project, was headed by the Lazarus Cell, because Cerberus has different cells or different groups that don't know about each other groups. They don't know about each other, just so that it keeps them all safe, so that none of them is put into danger because of what someone else knows. So they're all individual cells, and this was called Lazarus Cell. And the head of the Lazarus Cell was Miranda. And then, of course, the Elusive Man was the one that oversees all the cells. And then when Shepard was brought back to life, he was put in charge of the Lazarus Cell. But Miranda was still, the overseer of that cell. So we pretty much know what happened to Shepard during the games. It's spelled right out there. There's a few things that we don't know, though, that just lead to theories and questions, in my opinion. There's a lot of things that we don't know about Shepard, and I hope that they answer them in Mass Effect 3. I'm pretty sure that they will. A lot of those questions, at least in my opinion, revolve around Shepard's reaction to his death. He never really reacted. I mean, could you imagine what that must be like? To know that you were dead for 2 years. You missed out for 2 years. I mean, it's kind of like you're going into the future. Like, you were in a freaking coma and you woke up and you're like, what the hell? That's gotta be crazy to imagine. I mean, not even a coma. You were dead and you were freaking like a bag of meat. Just imagining that's gotta be traumatic. And Shepard never reacted. Miranda said, she was saying in the beginning of Mass Effect 2, she was talking to Jacob that they had to do months of testing on Shepard to make sure that he was okay, to make sure he was psychologically fine and that his abilities were all there. And Jacob's like, yeah, he's all there. I could prove it. I was fighting with him, blah, blah, blah. I could vouch for him. What about the psychological testing? She just asked him 3 questions? 2-3 questions? So what happened? Is he ever going to react? I think he is in Mass Effect 3. I think he's going to react because BioWare and Jennifer Hale mentioned something, and Mac Walters, the lead writer. They've mentioned that there is another side to Shepard in Mass Effect 3. They're delving more into Shepard, more personally, more emotionally. So I really can't wait to see what they're going to do with Shepard. If they're going to make him react more real, more like a human, and not like the soldier, like the hero of the Alliance. I want to see Shepard feel. I want to see him react. I want to see him, there's a scene in Lair of the Shadow Broker, in the downloadable content, where in the end, towards the end, when Liara goes up to the captain's quarters, she's talking to Shepard, And there's an option there where Shepard could say that he's tired. That she's like, she asks him something, but there's an option to respond that he's tired. And I loved that. I was like, that was perfect. It's real. It's realistic. I mean, could you imagine? How could he not be tired? I mean, he was killed. He was brought back to life. And for what? To continue to fight the same creatures that killed him? And again, the freaking Reapers? That's gotta be hard. So he says that he was tired. I can't remember exactly what he says, but I loved that was an option, that he could react that way, that he could be honest, and he could just say, "That's it. I'm tired of this." And I think he says something like, "What if we don't succeed," or something like that. And I loved seeing that side to Shepard, that whole insecure side to Shepard, that scared Shepard, that tired Shepard. So I really hope we see more of that in Mass Effect 3, because that was a huge thing that Mass Effect 2 was missing, and the opportunity was there. Another question I have about Shepard is, in the beginning of Mass Effect 2, the Elusive Man says, or Miranda says that Shepard is considered to be a bloody icon. And that's pretty much why they're bringing him back. The Elusive Man says, he basically says, who better to bring back? Humanity needs someone to follow, someone to trust, someone, an icon into such a huge war. Like they're delving into this huge situation. But why Shepard? Why would the Elusive Man go through so much to bring back Shepard? I mean, he went through millions of dollars to bring back Shepard. He says exactly how much he had to spend, Cerberus, to bring him back. I mean, bringing someone back from the dead is not easy, especially in the condition that Shepard was in. He was, Jacob says, he was pretty much a bag of meat. That had to be that's not easy to do. So why? Just because he's an icon? I mean, couldn't they find someone else? I mean, Shepard the only one? Could it be because he already destroyed a Reaper before? But I mean, he wasn't the only one. He didn't take down the Reaper single-handedly. A lot of other people did too. Shepard's team, the Alliance, I mean, the Fifth Fleet did a lot. They pretty much took down Sovereign as well. Mass Effect 3 is going to tell us a lot about Shepard. I think Mass Effect 1 was introducing the world, the situation, the threat. It was introducing a lot of that. Mass Effect 2 was setting the stage. It was getting us prepared, making the player feel like we had to prepare for this imminent threat. And Mass Effect 3, I think, is going to be a lot about Shepard. I think it's going to be about, because none of the games have been about Shepard. Mass Effect 1 was probably the closest. Mass Effect 2 didn't go into Shepard. It barely went into Shepard. So Mass Effect 3, I think they're going to really, really delve into Shepard. And I'm really looking forward to that. Pretty much, Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 has left us with a lot of questions when it comes to Shepard. What happened with Shepard when it comes to his death? What does he think about it? What's his reaction to it? Why did the elusive man go through so much to bring back Shepard? What is his motivation behind Shepard? There's got to be something else. It's not just because he's an icon. There's something there between the elusive man and Shepard. Shepard and the Reapers. Why did the Reapers want Shepard? What What do they want from him? I actually have a theory when it comes to that, when it comes to Shepard and the Reapers. I think the Reapers want Shepard, alive or dead, because they want to install Reaper technology in him to fully indoctrinate him. Because Shepard is strong-minded, so strong-minded people are very hard to indoctrinate. They're not impossible to indoctrinate. They just take longer to indoctrinate. Unless the Reapers can get a hold of them and they could implant them with Reaper technology so that they could just indoctrinate them whenever they want, kind of like Saren. Saren was also strong-minded, so they had to get him and physically implant him with Reaper technology. And he was easier to indoctrinate, and then when he died at the end of Mass Effect 1, even after he was dead, he became this Reaper host, basically. And I think that's what they want to do with Shepard. I think they want to implant Reaper technology so that they could use Shepard as a Reaper agent. Who would be better to go against humanity? Who would be a better Reaper agent in this war than Shepard? Shepard is one of the Reaper's worst enemies. He's ruined all of their plans. And they're like, you gotta be kidding me. I think they want him so bad, and you find out that they want him no matter if he's dead. I mean, they just want his body in Mass Effect 2 because they said one of the collectors, Harbinger, says bring his body, like, you bring me his body, because they could use him as a host whether he's alive or dead. So I think Shepard would be one of the best weapons for the Reapers if they were to indoctrinate Shepard and have him not realize it at first and just let him act within humanity, do what he's doing, try to help them and all that, and then at the perfect time just switch him on. And I mean, that would be like some really damaging infiltration right there. And that leads me to that whole thing where Jennifer Hale had said that there's a new side to Shepard in Mass Effect 3 that she finds really interesting. Now, what is this? What could this new side be? Could it be more emotional Shepard? We've seen a little bit of that. If you've seen the beta, he does react in a more... not that he reacts in a more emotional way, but it's more like he's placed in more emotional situations, in more situations that actually get that emotion out of him. Is that the other side? Or could it be that he might be indoctrinated during Mass Effect 3? I think Shepard is going to suffer some degree of indoctrination in Mass Effect 3. If not, I don't think he's going to be fully indoctrinated. I don't think that would be the best way for the storyline to go, just because Shepard is the protagonist, he's the hero. The hero is placed in hard situations, but he's never... it's never so bad where the hero loses it and is turned completely to the dark side and never returns. Some people have asked me, do you think at the end of Mass Effect 3, Shepard could actually join the Reapers willingly and destroy Earth and all that? I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think BioWare would allow that, just because Shepard is the hero. He's the protagonist, and for him to end up going bad, that's just not the way that stories end. Not because you're not supposed to end them like that, but because the majority of the audience want to see the hero succeed against evil. If Shepard, I think they would prefer to kill Shepard off first before him being completely indoctrinated. I could totally see that as being a scene in Mass Effect 3 where Shepard is on the verge of becoming indoctrinated and something happens, or he's going to become indoctrinated, or the Reapers are going to get him, or the Reapers are going to use him in some way, and Shepard prefers to either sacrifice himself somehow taking some Reapers down with him, or someone has to pretty much put him out of his misery. I could see that happening first, before Shepard actually turns to the dark side, or becoming completely indoctrinated, because that would be very risky for BioWare. I know a lot of people would love to see that. Hell, I think it'd be pretty interesting. But the majority of people would, I don't think they would want to see that. Shepard going evil, and because he's the hero of the game. But I do think that he's going to be fighting with himself a lot during the game. He's going to be feeling things. He's going to be, I think it's going to show, the game is going to show a lot of Shepard's internal fight, and his internal struggle with himself. If it turns out to be that the game does start going towards that way, I think it's going to be very, very interesting, because we haven't seen that side of Shepard yet. And if we get to, I think it's going to be very good. BioWare does say that this is it for Shepard. This is the last Shepard installment. This is the last game where Shepard is going to be a character in. Whether he dies, who knows, or whether he's just not going to come back for the future games that they have planned, for some reason or another. I have no idea. I have a feeling Shepard is going to die, but who knows? Maybe there's usually multiple endings for BioWare games, so maybe Shepard could end up dying in some games, and Shepard doesn't have to die in other games, depending on what you do. Who Shepard really is still up in the air. I mean, we know what each of us know our Shepards, because we created him. We chose him the way that we want to. He may not have a in-depth background, but a lot of us create it. We create our own Shepard's background. So Shepard is a very personal character, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like Shepard so much. He's not a set character. He's you. He's whoever you want him to be. And a lot of times I wish they had more options, because sometimes I'm like, well, my Shepard wouldn't react either of those ways. He wouldn't say any of those things. He'd say something else. But they do a pretty good job at keeping the decisions for Shepard either good or bad or neutral. I will admit that they do focus a lot on morality when it comes to Mass Effect, but